Huntley.
Thank you, Mr. Speaker. Before I start my general debate speech, I'd just like to take this opportunity to acknowledge the people of Vanuatu. I haven't had that chance yet, and acknowledge my friends over there in the Parliament who are doing their absolute best for their people under dreadful circumstances, and acknowledge them facing the front line of climate change, the front line of no resources and the destruction that has come from a mismanaged planet. I'd also just like to correct the previous speaker on his unfortunate tirade against Materia's question. In fact, the name of the school is Kelvin Road.
Order. Can I just ask the member, I know it's a habit that people have developed, familiarity with the name of the co-leader of the Green Party, but I think even if one addresses someone in a particular way outside the House, the formality should stay in the House.
Thank you very much, Mr. Chair, Mr. Speaker, and I do hope I haven't offended Materia Ture. Somehow I feel I may not, but I do take your point. We should maintain the rules of the House. So I'd just like to refer to the National Party member who said that Materia Ture was wrong about Kelvin Grove. I think he misheard the name of the school. I've rechecked the question. It's Kelvin Road, and it's the school that both Materia and I are familiar with, and I have visited. It's in Papatoetoe, not in his electorate. So he may...
Because, Mr. Speaker, and for the Deputy Leader of the Opposition, the member has just offended in exactly the same way that she was asked not to by the Speaker a moment ago. And I completely agree with the Speaker and would ask, no, on that occasion, again, the member's first name only was used.
I'm sorry, Mr. Speaker,
Order.
I take your
Huntley,
point.
replying to the point of order.
Yes, I'm not actually replying to the point of order as such. I can't remember whether I said Materia or Materia Ture. I'm afraid that I am attempting to stick to the rules of the House and perhaps talk about important subjects, if the member would allow me to continue.
Okay, and I apologise if I missed it, because I did too.
Yeah, so if we could get on with the business of the day. Water, Mr. Speaker, is the subject of the general debate for me, because no matter how many bridges you build in Northland, it's what goes underneath the bridge that really matters. I recently visited Te Tai Tokerau, and in the middle north, I stood on the bridges with a wonderful man called Milan Ruka, who runs the Environmental River Patrol. I stood on those bridges and I saw slimy, dirty, algae-ridden, grey water because of the excessive amount of effluent that was coming into those rivers from badly managed farms in the area of the Hikurangi Swamp. And it's that kind of problem that we saw today in question time when the Prime Minister was unable to answer my questions about the very reasonable call that Federated Farmers put out that we end dairy conversions in the Upper Waikato. Now, when Federated Farmers tell the country that we've gone too far with dairying and that Landcorp should stop converting their farms, we know there is a big problem. Chris Lewis from Waikato Federated Farmers made it very clear this week that a moratorium was a really good idea. Not because he's anti-dairying, he's no more anti-dairying than the Green Party is, but because he can see that downstream, the efforts that farmers are making across the Waikato to clean up water quality are being undermined by a government-owned, state-owned enterprise, Landcorp, who are proposing to put another 29,500 dairy cows in the upper catchment, and the catchment cannot take it. And that is in the next 5 years. They're proposing to do this not over 30 years or even 40, but the next 5 years, because the government, unlike Federated Farmers, has gone crazy with milk-fed greed. And while that takes place, every waterway downstream is at risk. The point that Chris Lewis was making is a very valid point, because he was saying that the farming community has put a lot of effort into riparian planting, into fencing, and into trying to manage nutrients in the Waikato. And I would say there's a lot more work to go, having been up along the Waiho River and other such rivers that are still in a parlous state. But it's very disturbing to see the government-owned enterprise, Landcorp, ignoring the calls of farmers and attacking fed farmers for daring to suggest that enough was enough. So we are saying to Federated Farmers, we are going to stand beside you in this call for a halt. We think it's a very reasonable call, because the people who have made the efforts, who are trying to meet a decent standard of water quality, are being undermined by their own government. So the government set a quality standard for fresh water, their national policy statement for freshwater management, which is incredibly low. So it's completely low, and it's pretty much useless because it's all about wading and boating, not swimming. And if you can't swim in a river like I could swim in a river when I was young, we have lost, Mr. Speaker, I beg your pardon, not you, but if we cannot swim in rivers anymore, we have lost something really precious. We should listen to the feds. They're telling the government, stop doing this. There are much more positive ways of managing water quality. We can protect the land, but there's no point in the government's policy of retiring adjacent waterways to land if upstream they're putting thousands more cows, thousands and thousands, into those catchments and destroying the work of farmers downstream. So the government should listen to the Green Party and listen to federated farmers. It's in everyone's interest to protect water. There will not be any wonderful economy. There will not be any fantastic community, great lifestyle and all the rest that they spat on about year after year coming from their policies if they don't protect water. Water is life, Mr. Speaker, and we must protect it. Kia ora tātou.
The time for this debate has expired. I call on members order of the day number